Well, major political parties run focus groups. They pay research companies to find out what voters are thinking and feeling. They use that to shape policies, messages, and ultimately win elections. And even this soon after an election victory, focus groups are still being run. Joining me live is the director of RedBridge Group, Simon Welsh. Simon, great to see you. What are voters talking to you about this week? They're obviously concerned about interest rates. How's that shaping up politically?
Yeah, thanks, Laura. Yeah, there's a lot of focus, as you can imagine, on cost of living, interest rate rises, those sorts of things. And we know that those mortgage stress electorates, as we call it, in those sort of outer suburban areas of our major cities are in for a rough trot, and they feel like they're going to be in for a rough trot over the coming years. But as you say, the interesting bit is, how does all that play politically? As we like to put it, who's to blame? And things are interesting around interest rates. So what we tend to see is that governments have done a pretty good job over the years of kind of muddying the waters a bit around interest rates. So you get a lot of folk that will sort of say, well, I don't really believe it when you claim that you keep them low, and I can't probably really blame you when they go up. And there's this thing called the RBA that seems to control it, sort of thing. So there is this muddiness around it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't come home to bite. So government sort of may have outsourced the decision to the RBA, but they can't outsource the consequence. So what we know will start to happen is and there's a fair distance between now and the next election, is that people sort of base that kind of economic influence on their voting decision around two sort of things. They base it on their subjective economic circumstance. Do I feel like I'm better off than I was when this government took power? And what we call relative deprivation. Who do I think is doing better than me in the current sort of economic circumstances? So I could be doing okay, but if I feel there's a whole group of other people doing better than me, that can play out poorly for a government too. So all of that says to us that I think we're looking at the battle of the burbs. I know we're only 3 weeks into the course of this government. It's a big call, but I just think that the economic tracks are starting to be laid. I think we're really looking at a bit of a battle of the burbs over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it certainly seems so. So basically what you're saying is Labor does have a small window of reprieve. Voters aren't blaming them for the interest rate rises, but it's what they do about the cost of living that's really going to matter.
It's what they do about the cost of living. And as I say, that sort of relative deprivation piece is important in the sense that being seen to be on the side of people like me. So that's how people in focus groups say, be on the side of people like me. So that means for those outer suburban mortgage stress electorates, they'll want to see a government that's really focused to their needs, sensitive to their needs, and not necessarily sort of, making policy decisions that advance the interests of others.
Simon Welsh, fascinating as always. We'll check in with you soon. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, Laura.